And so what is the inlay exactly?
An inlay can be, if you can factory, some of the major lines, they'll do them right at the factory. They tuft them right into the grass. So when they unroll that carpet, your edge line is in that piece of carpet, for example. The other way they do it is they actually take essentially a shave, it's like a shaving device, and they shear the blades off the carpet. Then they glue that 4-inch wide stripe in the sheared off section of the carpet.
And so then when the field is installed, that's part of the field?
Yes.
And typically, for this kind of this is a multi-use field, that's one of the attractions of it. How many lines are on the field?
We very commonly stripe 5 sports now. It gets a little cluttered with 5. 3 or 4 is nicer, especially if you have football as one of those permanent stripes. That gets crowded. But most of our collegiate installations and scholastic installations have football, soccer, men's lacrosse, women's lacrosse, quite often field hockey. So those are about it. Those are the main ones.
And what about baseball?
Baseball has become more and more common on synthetic. We did Randall's Branchbrook Park, William Patterson have synthetic facilities. In this case, we elected to go with what's become a much more recent trend, go with complete synthetic and just have colored base paths, bases on the turf. Our cutouts would be limited probably to just maybe no cutouts, possibly home plate. That would be determined in final design. So your sliding would happen right on the carpet. And fielding of the balls in the infield. If we needed a mound for a Little League game, it would be a portable mound. Otherwise, for softball and so on, you're just off the pitching plate. But baseball has become very accepted on synthetic, including, right up through the professional level. With Tampa Bay Devil Rays and so on are back on synthetic.
You're working on the Randall's Island thing?
Yes.
Both the turf and the natural grass side, or just one of them?
There's 20 private schools. You may have read some of that if you read any of the New York papers, but 20 private schools are helping to fund the project. We're representing the 20 private schools. The city hired a local designer to design the fields. Our job has essentially been to critique that design and to try to get the program elements, the athletic program that the schools need in the program.
The reason I bring that up is that the New York City Parks Department is now arguably the leading buyer of artificial turf in the United States.
Yeah, in fact, Commissioner Benepe is a real hawk for synthetic, and for obvious reasons in New York. They're as landlocked as you can get, and
Well, and in some cases they're replacing asphalt with artificial turf, which, if those are the two choices,
sure,
the artificial turf's a no-brainer.
Sure.
In that context, New Yorkers for Parks, which is probably the largest, you familiar with the report?
Yes.
Okay. Some of their numbers are at variance with your numbers, particularly regarding maintenance. So tell me why you're right and they're wrong.
When turf first came out, people started with a fairly high maintenance number because they just didn't want to sound bogus about it. That number steadily comes down. We used to carry 30 to 40,000 per field per year maintenance in our number. That kind of goes steadily down, especially, like I said, if you're inlaying everything, because really all you're doing is the occasional brush, the occasional vacuum, or blowing off the leaves, and then any striping that has to occur. There's really no other maintenance. It's very infrequent that you would actually get the tines out and actually move the rubber around. There's a lot of facilities that don't have to reshuffle their rubber at all, depending on the use.
Talk about the urban heat island effect.
That's that is a definite impact, and it's something that the industry's been coming up with various ways to mitigate since everybody noticed how warm these get. These do heat up. The rubber holds, the black rubber and the grass hold in the heat, and they can get essentially as hot as a parking lot. And as you know, on a hot summer day on a parking lot, that's a lot warmer than standing on cool natural grass. What we do to mitigate that, there's two ways you can do it. One is with water cannons or water quick couplers that spray a lot of water on the rubber to cool it down. That works, but it's relatively temporary and jacks the humidity way up temporarily as well. What's becoming another trend, and is something that we really like, is to get misting fans and misting heads as well. We always have the quick couplers on every project, so that you may want them just to clean off a spill of Gatorade or whatever on your. But misting heads and fans, like you see down at Universal and other theme parks now, and you locate those on the sidelines for the team. So rather than trying to cool the whole field to keep the team cool, why not cool the team? When the kid comes out for a while, he's standing there. Ideally, that takes a little more management, and if you have unsupervised play going on, those kids may be out there on a hot summer day and fans, but it's a nice mitigation measure that works very well.
Are either of those options contemplated in this option?
Yeah, in the budget we budgeted in there for the quick couplers and the fans.
What temperature, what ambient temperature did you contemplate for the heat to the extent of a parking lot?
Studies have shown that and I'm not sure if it's 3 feet off the turf or chest height off the turf, they'll get up well over 140 degrees on a hot summer day if the air is still, which is very similar to an asphalt parking lot.
Yeah, I'm asking you, what air temperature would you expect that phenomenon to occur at?
Essentially any hot, 80-degree type of day with the sun out. Obviously, with the 90-degree cloudy day, you're not going to have to worry about it. But you won't get it anywhere near that, from a 70-degree day in the sunshine. It has to be accompanied by that hot day. I don't have a good.
What's your experience is how that plays out in practice in terms of, we know there's a lot of fields in this region, a lot of towns that have these fields. What's your experience as to the impact on that, either on safety or field usage in practice? How does it play out?
Our experience is that it's much, and for obvious reasons, much more pronounced limiting factor in the South and the West. A couple fields we've done in Dallas, and we hear a lot about Dallas, where they may not even use the fields until nighttime for that reason.
Are you familiar with the towns?
But up here, it's really an August and July issue with occasional days in June and September. And those can usually be mitigated greatly with the water.
Are you familiar with some of the installations in this region?
Yes.
Can you speak to what kind of effect it's had on usage in those towns? Take anyone you want.
My understanding, for example, let's take William Patterson, which is one that we did. They haven't changed their usage at all. Now, as a college, they're gone in May, and